Imagine a world long before airplanes, trains, or even paved roads, where vast empires like Persia and Egypt ruled enormous territories with diverse peoples and cultures. It was here, more than 2,000 years ago, that the earliest forms of passports first appeared. Around 450 BC, the Persian king Artaxerxes I handed a letter to a man named Nehemiah, allowing him to travel safely through dangerous lands to rebuild Jerusalem's walls. This letter was no mere piece of paper. It was a symbol of royal authority, guaranteeing protection and safe passage. Across ancient civilizations, such documents acted like passports do today, but they were often personal and rare. In Rome, travelers might carry official letters, while in medieval Europe, a noble's messenger held safe conduct papers from kings or bishops. These early documents reflected a delicate balance. Rulers wanted to encourage trade and diplomacy, but feared the dangers of unregulated movement. The idea of controlling borders was born from practical needs, protecting realms from enemies, spies, or criminals, while facilitating the essential flow of goods and ideas. Fast forward to the Renaissance, a time of great exploration, commerce, and cultural awakening. Europe's map was rapidly changing as explorers like Columbus and Magellan sailed across oceans, and merchants traveled from city to city in search of fortune. Yet, the passport system was still chaotic and inconsistent. Documents granting safe passage varied wildly. Some were beautifully sealed with wax and adorned with royal crests. Others were simple handwritten notes issued by local authorities. These early passports were mostly reserved for diplomats, nobles, or wealthy merchants. The average traveler often journeyed without papers, relying on reputation or local goodwill. Despite this, passports hinted at growing state power. Rulers realized controlling movement was crucial in an age of competing kingdoms and empires. By the late 1600s, the increasing use of passports and letters of introduction demonstrated the evolving role of identity and trust in travel, setting the stage for more formal systems. Religious pilgrims, too, were among those most commonly granted safe passage, as governments and churches alike supported their spiritual journeys. As trade expanded, guilds and merchant associations began issuing personalized travel documents to support and safeguard their members on the road, offering protection and recognition to members engaged in trade. These varied practices revealed how travel documents were not yet standardized, but were emerging as a necessary tool in an increasingly mobile and interconnected Europe. As the world entered the 17th and 18th centuries, the emergence of the modern nation-state transformed passports into tools of political control. Borders became fixed lines on maps, and governments asserted their authority by regulating who could cross them. The tumultuous wars of this era, the 30 Years' War, the English Civil War, and later the Napoleonic Wars, heightened fears about spies, deserters, and enemy agents. Passports evolved from informal letters into more structured documents, often including detailed physical descriptions of travelers. Governments began to issue passports that explicitly limited or granted permission to cross borders, turning the passport into an instrument of sovereignty. Meanwhile, the Industrial Revolution and technological innovations, such as railroads and steamships, dramatically increased international travel. This boom forced states to refine passport systems, balancing the need for security with a desire to encourage trade and tourism. Although passports were not yet universally required, the foundations of today's system were firmly in place. The early 20th century was a turning point for passports, driven by the cataclysms of World War I and its aftermath. Before the war, passports were still often optional, but the conflict forced governments to impose strict border controls to manage the mass movement of troops, refugees, and civilians. Suddenly, passports became mandatory, essential for security and intelligence efforts. After the war, the newly formed League of Nations sought to harmonize passport standards to facilitate peace and cooperation. This era saw the introduction of photographs, fingerprints, and official seals to combat forgery. Passports now served a dual purpose, identifying individuals and certifying their legal right to enter or leave countries. The interwar period's rise in global migration and diplomacy further entrenched the passport's importance. It was no longer just a letter of safe conduct, it had become a key legal document, tied intimately to the concept of citizenship and national identity. The post-World War II era marked a dramatic expansion in international travel, fueled by advances in aviation and the growth of global tourism. The United Nations and the International Civil Aviation Organization worked tirelessly to standardize passports, introducing the machine-readable passport in the 1980s, a small technological revolution that sped up border crossings worldwide. But as travel became easier and more common, security concerns grew. The late 20th and early 21st centuries witnessed increased focus on preventing illegal immigration, terrorism, and identity fraud. Biometric passports, which store fingerprints, facial recognition data, and other identifiers in embedded microchips, emerged to meet these challenges. These passports protect not only borders, but also individuals' identities. Yet, they also raise profound questions about privacy and surveillance. Today's passports are both passports and personal data vaults, reflecting the complex dance between openness and control in our increasingly interconnected world. In our digital age, the humble passport remains one of the most powerful documents anyone can hold. It is a symbol of belonging, citizenship, and the freedom to explore the world, or, for some, a barrier to it. Modern passports vary widely. Some grant visa-free access to over 180 countries, while others come with heavy restrictions and scrutiny. The future points toward digital passports stored on smartphones or in the cloud, promising to simplify travel further and reduce fraud. Governments are experimenting with blockchain technology and other secure digital identities, but these advances come with risks. Hacking, identity theft, and unequal access to technology threaten to widen the gap between those who can travel freely and those who cannot. Additionally, recent global events such as the COVID-19 pandemic have introduced new layers of health documentation and travel restrictions, reshaping how we think about passports. As borders continue to define our mobility, the passport endures, a centuries-old invention continually adapting to our changing world, embodying humanity's eternal tension between the desire to roam and the need to belong. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to like and subscribe.